Okay, so today we're going to be taking a look at how to use the box method to balance chemical equations. Okay, and so I've got a chemical equation up here, so showing this chemical reaction of hydrogen gas is going to react with iodine to create hydroiodic acid. Okay, and so when we balance chemical equations, what we're actually doing is we're trying to get it so that we can show the law of conservation of mass. Okay, so we have to have the same number of atoms on the reactant side as we do on the product side. And we can tell the difference between reactants and products because of this arrow guy. And when you see it in words, they'll say yield. But everything to the left of the arrow is a reactant. Everything to the right of it is called a product. Okay, so we've got our reactants and our products. Okay, since we've got more than one, we've got reactants. Okay, so I use the box, so we're going to use the box method, and I really like this. So in the middle, this is where we list our elements or the polyatomic ions that stay together. Okay, on the left side, we're going to count the number of atoms on the reactant side. On the right side, we're going to count the number of products we have. So in these middle boxes, I'm going to go ahead and list the elements that I'm using in this chemical equation up here. So I have H2, so I'm using hydrogen, and I'm using iodine. Okay, and I need to count how many I have on my reactant side, and then I'll count how many I have on my product side. So hydrogen, I have 2 of these guys. So I'm going to go ahead and put a 2 there. I know I have 2 because of this 2 subscript. Iodine, I also have 2, so I'm going to go ahead and put a 2 there because I've got this 2 subscript as well. Okay. On my product side, though, it just says HI. So this is just like it's saying H1, I1. If there's no subscript, it's an implied 1. So we're going to have a 1 and a 1. Okay. This does not show currently the law of conservation of mass, because we've got 2 on one side and 1 on the other. Well, we need to make it equal. So I can add a coefficient in front of my elements so that I can balance this out. And so the coefficient is going to multiply in with your subscript to tell you how many you have. So since I have 1 guy here and I should have 2, I can put a 2 right here. Okay? I'm going to cross out this guy. This is just a notation for me. Okay, so I'm going to cross out that 1. I know I've got 2 H's. That 2 also connects to the 1 iodine, so I've got 2 there. So we'll double check. 2 is the same as 2, so that guy's good. 2 is the same as 2, that guy's good. Okay, so let's try the next problem. So we have carbon, sulfur, and oxygen. Here's a really big hint. Balance your oxygen last, okay? I would go metal, non-metal, then oxygen. Oxygen can be kind of tricky, so we want to do oxygen last, okay? Since we don't have a metal in this set of equations, it really doesn't matter. We'll start with carbon. We can do sulfur, and then oxygen, because my equation has carbon, sulfur, and oxygen. Okay, so let's count up what we have on our reactant side. So we've got 1 carbon, we have 1 sulfur, since there's no subscript there, but we do have a subscript on that oxygen, and that means that we've got 2 oxygen. On our reactant side, or I'm sorry, on our product side, we have 1 carbon, 2 sulfur, and we've got 2 carbons. Haha, that happens sometimes. 2 carbons. And we've got 1 oxygen. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and try to balance my carbons first. So I've got 2 on one side and 1 on the other. I'm going to put a 2 over here. So that's going to make this carbon on this side, on my reactant side, 2. My carbons are balanced now. Okay. My sulfur is not balanced though, so let's do sulfur. So I've got 2 sulfurs and 1 sulfur. So 2 on one side, 1 on the other. I'm going to put a 2 here. Okay, cancel that out, put 2. Okay, this 2 goes to the sulfur, but it also goes to that oxygen. So now I have 4 oxygen on this one side. Okay, I've got 4 oxygen on my reactant side, but I only have 1 accounted for on this side. So I have to put a 4 here to get that balanced out. Okay, so now I've got 4 oxygen here. Oh no, I just messed up my carbon. That's okay. We can always go back and change. Okay, so I've got 4 carbon plus 1 carbon is 5 carbons. So I need to go back, cancel that guy out, change it to 5. And you can do that a lot. So I would recommend using pencil. I'm using pen just to make sure that it gets picked up by the camera. But I'm using pen for that reason. So we would have 5, 2, 1 is our coefficient for this guy. Even though nothing's written there, 1 is really our coefficient. And then 4. Okay. So the last problem on this front side of the sheet is NaOH. So sodium hydroxide with lithium sulfate is going to react and yield sodium sulfate and lithium hydroxide. Okay, so since I have polyatomics and they appear on both sides of the equation, I'm going to keep it together. So I've got hydroxide right here and hydroxide right here. I'm going to keep hydroxide together. I've got sulfate right here and sulfate right here. I'm going to keep that sulfate together. Okay, so really I'm just going to work like I'm working with 4 elements. Okay, so I've got Na, Li, OH, and SO4. Okay, so let's count up what we have on this side. Okay, so for Na, I have just 1. For Li, I have 2. Okay, OH, I'm going to look at that whole thing. There are no parentheses, no extra guys, so I only have 1 OH. And SO4, there are no parentheses, no extra subscripts, so I only have 1 of the SO4. Okay, so over here, Na has 2. I'll go ahead and account for my SO4. There's just 1 of them. Li, there's only 1 of them, and my OH over here, there's 1 of them. Okay, so let's take a look at our Na, because Na and Li are not balanced. So we'll go ahead and we'll fix that. So we'll start with Na. Na has 2 on this side and 1 on this side. So in order to make this 1 equal 2, because we can't make this guy half, we have to put a 2 coefficient. I'm going to go ahead, and then I'm just changing this, okay? It's just a writing it down method. It's to help you keep track. In really complicated problems, it will really, really help you to write this stuff down, okay? This 2, though, now means that I am going to have 2 of those OHs. I'm going to cancel that guy, okay? So let's try and see if we can fix our Li next. So we're going to put 2 Li's, and we've got 1. So we're going to put 2. We've got 2 there. Well, this 2 goes to the Li, but it also goes to that OH. So I've got 2 OHs. So now 2 sodiums on each side, 2 lithiums on each side, 2 hydroxides on each side, and 1 sulfate on each side. This is a balanced equation. So you can have 1 as your coefficient. Okay. So thanks for popping in. I'll do a couple more worksheets, a few more examples in another video, but I hope you have a good day. Bye.